First thing students noticed was the silence. Not the normal kind, not the peaceful kind. The kind of silence that makes your body uncomfortable before your mind understands why. 1 minute, the school hallways were filled with ordinary noise, lockers closing, students talking, teachers calling people back to class, and then everything suddenly stopped. That's when the intercom crackled to life. But it wasn't the principal speaking. The voice sounded nervous, breathing unevenly, trying hard to stay calm. And then the announcement came. Attention staff and students, please remain inside your classrooms until further notice. At first, nobody reacted, because confusion never feels dangerous immediately, until strange sounds started echoing through the hallway. And by the time the school realized something wasn't right, someone unfamiliar was already moving through the building. It happened on an ordinary Thursday afternoon, the kind students usually forget. Gray clouds outside, fluorescent lights buzzing softly overhead. Most students had mentally checked out already, waiting for the final bell. Phones hidden beneath desks, quiet conversations spreading across the room. Even the teacher looked exhausted. Nobody imagined that such a normal day would become one of the strangest incidents the school had ever experienced. Especially room 214. Because later, investigators would focus heavily on that classroom, not because something happened inside it, but because of what students claimed they heard outside. At exactly 1:17 p.m., the lights flickered once, just once. Some students laughed awkwardly. One joked that the school's electricity was acting up again. Then the intercom crackled violently. Static burst through the speakers. The teacher immediately looked up, and something about his expression changed. Not panic, not shock, concern, the kind adults try to hide when they know something feels wrong. But before the announcement even finished, someone in the hallway started running, fast. The classroom door suddenly opened. A teacher from another hallway rushed inside, completely pale, out of breath. "Lock the door," she whispered. Then louder, "Lock it now." The atmosphere inside the room changed instantly. Desks scraped across the floor, lights switched off, students moved toward the back corner of the classroom, phones silenced, windows covered. Nobody understood what was happening. And honestly, that uncertainty made everything worse. Because people can handle danger. What truly scares them is not knowing what's happening. Outside the classroom, footsteps echoed through the hallway, then distant shouting. Not clear enough to understand, just enough to make everyone uncomfortable. A student near the wall quietly started crying. Another kept whispering, "What's going on?" But nobody answered, because the teachers looked just as unsettled. Then came the first loud noise, metal rattling somewhere down the hallway. Everyone jumped. Another sound followed, closer this time. Then another, like someone moving carefully through the corridor, slowly, patiently. And that's when things became disturbing. Because whoever was out there didn't sound panicked. They sounded calm. Time passed strangely inside the dark classroom. Maybe minutes, maybe longer. Nobody moved. The only light came from the faint gray glow slipping through the covered window. Some students quietly texted their parents. Others stared silently at the floor, trying not to panic. One student later said the silence inside that room felt more frightening than the noises outside, because every tiny sound suddenly felt important. Breathing, fabric moving, someone quietly trying not to cry. Even a heartbeat felt loud. And then, the footsteps stopped. Right outside room 214, the room went completely still. Nobody blinked, nobody moved. A shadow appeared beneath the classroom door. Someone was standing there, not speaking, not moving, just waiting. The teacher slowly stepped backward. Then suddenly, the classroom phone lit up. Incoming call. Nobody touched it. The ringing echoed through the room. Then it stopped. A few seconds later, 3 slow knocks hit the classroom door. Knock, knock, knock. Not aggressive, not rushed, almost calm. And somehow that made it even more unsettling. One student covered their mouth, trying not to panic. Another started shaking uncontrollably. Then a voice came from the hallway. Soft, barely above a whisper. "I know you're in there." The teacher's expression changed instantly, because he noticed something strange. The voice sounded young. Nobody inside the classroom knew what to do. Outside the door, silence returned. But it didn't feel safe. It felt intentional, like whoever was outside enjoyed the fear building inside the room. Then suddenly, bang, the classroom door shook violently. Several students screamed. Another impact hit the door. Dust drifted from the frame. The teacher quickly pushed a heavy desk against the entrance. But then, the noise stopped immediately, too suddenly. And somehow, that felt even worse, because it didn't feel random. It felt controlled. Then something slowly slid beneath the gap under the door. A phone, its screen glowing faintly. One student carefully picked it up. A single message appeared. "Don't open the door." Nobody understood what it meant, but investigators later discovered something disturbing. That phone didn't belong to any student in the school, and according to security footage, nobody was ever seen placing it there. At 1:42 p.m., another voice echoed through the hallway. "Room 214, this is security. The hallway is clear." Relief spread through the classroom instantly. Some students almost stood up. Others quietly cried in relief, but the teacher didn't move. Something felt wrong. The voice sounded calm, too calm. Then he realized why. The real security officer had a heavy southern accent. This voice didn't. The room stayed silent. Then the voice spoke again, louder this time. "Please open the door." No one moved. Several seconds passed, then came the strangest sound students later described during interviews. Laughing. Not loud, not aggressive. Quiet laughing, like someone amused by a private joke. Then the footsteps slowly walked away. But the nightmare wasn't over, because moments later, the fire alarm suddenly activated. Red emergency lights flooded the hallway outside. The alarm screamed through the building. Students panicked instantly, because nobody knew what was real anymore. Stay hidden or leave the classroom? Nobody had answers. Then smoke slowly appeared beneath the classroom door. Panic spread across the room. Some students begged to leave, others begged to stay, and then a loud crash echoed somewhere nearby, followed by shouting. Adult voices this time, running footsteps, the sound of multiple people moving quickly through the hallway, then silence again. Suddenly, a flashlight beam appeared through the classroom window from outside. Police. Real police. Several students nearly broke down, crying with relief. But before officers reached the classroom door, something moved at the far end of the hallway, a tall shadow, standing completely still, watching. One officer shouted something. The figure turned the corner and disappeared. Police searched the entire school afterward. Every classroom, every hallway, every storage room, every rooftop access point. But they never found anyone, no suspect, no explanation, and somehow, that made everything more disturbing. The lockdown officially lasted 1 hour and 11 minutes. But for the students trapped inside room 214, it felt endless. Parents flooded the parking lot outside. News helicopters circled overhead. Police vehicles lined the streets. But even after the investigation ended, strange questions remained unanswered. Why did the unknown person know which classrooms were occupied? How did they imitate staff voices so accurately? And why were several security cameras mysteriously disabled before the lockdown even began? But the creepiest detail came weeks later. When investigators reviewed hallway audio recordings, buried beneath the static, they discovered something disturbing. During the moment students claimed someone was standing outside room 214, there were no recorded footsteps, no knocking, no voice, nothing. Officially, the case remains unresolved. And to this day, former students from that school still avoid the second-floor hallway near room 214, because some of them swear that late at night, you can still hear 3 slow knocks coming from the empty classroom door. Knock, knock, knock. If you enjoy dark mysteries and unsettling stories that feel disturbingly real, subscribe to Dark Stories.